Hey guys, how you going? It's Blair here from Pops Culture. I've been putting off doing this video for a little while now, and I know there are lots and lots of videos out there on YouTube regarding this subject. Well, it's been about 6 weeks since The Last Jedi was released, and I just thought I might want to share some of my thoughts on the subject. I know everybody's probably sick to death of Last Jedi videos now. I know I am, but it's just been a while. It just feels something that I probably need to get out there. Now, I'm not going to rant and rave and say, oh, Ryan Johnson ruined my childhood or anything along those sorts of lines. Just, you know, just want to think about it a little bit. Now, since I saw the movie back on the release date here in Australia on the 14th of December, it's been a really funny situation. I've never ever felt this way about a movie before. I've never felt so torn apart, if you will, by a film. It's just a really bizarre feeling to be there, and I'm sure many of you out there are feeling the same way. Now, look, I love Star Wars. Star Wars is basically one of my things in my life that is, you know, it's number one. It's number one to me, put it that way. I'm at the age where, when the original film came out in 1977, I was at that perfect age that the movie was geared to. And yeah, I mean, it's just been with me my entire life, good and bad. The original three movies for me are untouchable. They are just perfect in every way, even Return of the Jedi. It's just what I grew up with, and they're movies that you can watch again now and just to still be just marvel, just be impressed and marvel at the work that went in, the love that went in, the care that went into those movies. And which is why today, still, every generation discovers them again. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed The Last Jedi. There were lots of things in there that I thought were great. But the more I think about it, there's a lot that's, you know, pulled me in two different directions. It's just funny. Look, I've seen a lot of things about Luke Skywalker and his character, and how it didn't serve the character of Luke. And as we all know, Mark Hamill himself has come out and said that he didn't agree initially with Ryan Johnson's take on the character. And having seen the movie now, I can understand why. A lot of the videos that we saw leading up to Last Jedi with the interviews and things with Mark and Ryan, it was a bit of a forewarning. You could sort of see it now in hindsight. Now, personally, I didn't have too much of a problem with the direction that they took Luke. He was obviously, you know, like, life has gotten in the way. The idyllic young man that we saw in the original films is now 35 years older, and anybody who is, you know, around my age or a little bit older than that can attest to the dramas that one has in their life, and how things can change, how opinions can change, and how, when we look back on our past, the rosy glow of the past. And if you're somebody who is, you know, a celebrity or a movie star or anything like that, and where it's still seen as that, you know, you can still hear a record or see a video of your favourite band, and they're still young and vibrant and terrific, you know, and then you see them in their 60s and 70s now, and yeah, they're still the same guy, and they're still probably treading the boards and doing what they love to do all their life. And yeah, let's face it, you know, but when you live through that when you're younger, and you're still seen for that, you know, it could be detrimental to one's mental state and life thing. And as we know, Luke became a legend in the Star Wars universe. Luke became myth himself, and that would be a terrible burden to shoulder, and the expectations on one after reaching such lofty heights of basically saving the galaxy would be very heavy on him. Now, I understood that. I also didn't have any problem. Well, I had some problem, but I didn't have a lot of problem with the force projection thing across the galaxy. I thought actually that was a very clever way to deal with that situation, and yeah, you know, that's just a testament to how powerful he was. Look, it would have been great to see Luke, sure, one more time, as a lot of people have said. You know, go to town, hand his nephew Kylo, you know, some whoop ass for what he'd done to Han and what he'd done to the galaxy. Would have been fantastic, you know, as was set up to see maybe the Knights of Ren and Luke take them all down with his fantastic force powers and the green lightsaber like a whirling dervish cutting them all down. That would have been great. Yeah, I'd have loved to have seen that too. However, how they handled Luke in that part of the movie was basically, I thought, very clever, and what a Jedi is. Now, a Jedi, even though the prequels, you know, will show you otherwise, the idea of a Jedi is violence is the last resort. Right? He doesn't whip his lightsaber out every 5 seconds and go hacking into town, you know. It's a last resort. A lightsaber is a weapon of last resort. And I thought it was handled beautifully, and in his own way, he did hand young Ben Solo his derriere, so we speak. Not in the way that we wanted to, but yeah, he really pulled him down a peg doing it that way, and yeah, I thought it was great. Now, as somebody, as I said before, who grew up with Star Wars, who was basically 11 years old in 1977 when the movie came out, and grew up with it, it means a lot to me personally and to my generation and generations afterwards. It was a learning experience. It was a learning tool. You know, we followed Luke on 3 adventures. We saw his growth, and he you know, from a young Kello youth and to the, well, almost Jedi Knight that he was in Return of the Jedi. And it was a journey we all took, and we learnt a lot along with Luke. We were at that age where, you know, life was starting to influence us. What we were wanting to be was starting to influence us. What direction in our life we wanted to take. And there were some really helpful lessons in there. I mean, I quote The Empire Strikes Back continuously with a lot of Yoda's quotes and that, and they're great lessons for life. It was a satisfying character arc. He took on the might and came through in the end, and was damaged and dealt with things, but there was light at the end of the tunnel, the light at the end of a very dark tunnel. It gave, you know, if we strive as people, if we strive as individuals to do good, and the darkness is going to come at us from every angle, but if we keep striving and walking through a wall of fire with faith and with you know, truth and on our side, and we can yeah, like I said, overcome a wall of fire, move mountains. And that was a fantastic lesson to learn. They're a timeless film because generations discover it, and they love it, and they get the same lessons out of it. Now, generations from now, born, right, will now have these complete, let's say, 9 movies in the saga. But now they're going to see a different story. They're going to see that hopeful young man, Luke Skywalker, save the galaxy, and then 30 years later become a bumbling, recluse old man who's very bitter with the world and just wants to die and the whole thing to go away. And for young kids now coming up, watching these movies, getting hope, you know, seeing all the things that Luke accomplished, and then having him tear it all down at the end, is just not the lessons that I would want to be teaching our young people today. It's not a very hopeful message, I don't think, for kids. And this is what I think. I haven't seen too many people touch on this subject in a lot of these videos, but that was what the problem for me was. It was Luke Skywalker is one of the greatest heroes in any mythology, right? He just happens to be in a movie, and he touches so many people. Now the problem is, today's world is bad enough. Today, you know, and there was this one thing, there was Star Wars, and Star Wars was always that thing that you clung on to, and the generations clung on to, and they loved it. It gave people hope. Well, that hope's been knocked down a peg. Now look, I've had no problem, with this new generation of Disney-fied Star Wars movies. The direction they're going is just not very, I don't know, conducive to the future of the saga, and to the future of people in general. And so we've heard all the stories about things being set up and not being taken through with, and yeah, that is a major concern. Why set things up if there's no plan? And that's how it seems to me. There was just no plan with these films, and they've got. I really don't envy J.J. Abrams at the moment now to write himself out of this hole that they need to sort of turn these movies around. So having said all that, I did enjoy The Last Jedi for what it was. There are many elements of it was nowhere near as it a perfect movie, nor is any Star Wars movie for that regard, except the original trilogy, of course, which, and I'm talking about the original films, not the hot and spicy ones, the 1977 to 83 versions that we got, which are the films that the Academy Awards recognised. The thing that I see now is these movies, especially after The Last Jedi, they are multi-million-dollar fan fiction. This is what these films have become, multi-million-dollar fan fiction. And take it with that. Take it with that grain of salt. Sure, we've got all our, the EU was deleted, but we've got all those books, we've got those legends. Take whatever you want. You make it your own canon. That's probably the best way to look at things, right? So that's the way I'm dealing with it. Always have the original movies, and take what you want out of everything else as far as what your canon is. And just enjoy Star Wars for what it was. We're going to go into, Space Layer or Holdo or any of that sort of stuff. It was what it was. And I can see for's and against for all of that. But the Luke Skywalker thing was just something that I really thought I had to talk about mainly, and just get what your maybe what your thoughts about. Anyway, that's it from me. I'm Blair from Pops Culture, and I will be continuing to put videos up, not just about Star Wars, but everything pop culture, movies, toys, you name it, we'll be talking about it here. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and show your support if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later. Bye.